Capitalism is so oppressive and evil that it enabled the daughter of slaves to gain wealth in incredible fashion. Who would have thought? This is Libertarian View, your source of decentralized and distributed information. In this video, we will discuss the story of Madam C.J. Walker, a daughter of slaves who became a millionaire, and who, through her entrepreneurship, positively transformed the lives of countless poor people. Her story was told in the biography On Her Own Ground, written by her great-great-granddaughter Alelia Bundles. The book inspired the series Self-Made, which is available on Netflix. To put it into context, at the end of the 20th century, the US was undergoing a major transformation caused by the end of the state guarantee for the practice of slavery after the Civil War. Madam C.J. Walker was born free in 1867 under the name of Sarah Breedlove, while her parents and siblings would still take years to obtain civil liberty. In her childhood, she lived on a cotton farm. When the state revoked the permission of slavery, her family and she were left to their own fate, just like many ex-slaves at the time. At the age of 5, she lost her mother to cholera, and at 6, she lost her father. At the age of 10, she started living with her older sister in Mississippi, where she worked as a maid. Although she attended school for only 3 months, she became literate with the help of Sunday services. To escape her harassing brother-in-law, she married a man named Moses when she was 14. At 17, she had her first daughter, Alelia, but 2 years later her husband passed away, and she was left alone with her daughter, having to work hard to support her. In 1903, she lived in St. Louis, Missouri, and worked as a washerwoman, making about $1 a day and washing kilograms of clothes. Her work routine, poor diet, lack of sanitary conditions, psychological suffering, along with the toxicity of the washing products caused her to experience intense hair loss and scalp flaking. She almost went bald, and therefore suffered tremendous prejudice, which shook her self-esteem. Through her brother, who was a barber, she met Annie Malone, an entrepreneur and owner of the Puro Company, which produced hair products focusing on African American hair. Malone applied her products and managed to recover Sarah's hair, which improved her self-esteem quite a lot. Enchanted with the results, Sarah decided to sell the products door to door, earning a commission from the sales. The following year, Sarah and her daughter were already working hard selling Puro's products and moved to Denver, Colorado in search of a larger consumer market. However, as competition already existed there, Sarah realized that there was a demand from black women willing to purchase products that would fit their needs. The cosmetics and products of the time were far out of the financial reality of black women, so Sarah began to research on her own and look for a way to create a formula that would solve several black women's problems, including price. The base that Annie Malone used was composed of Vaseline and sulfur, an old and popular blend. But Sarah, after trying countless possible mixtures, came up with a product that did not have the smell of sulfur, besides being simpler and more economic. Sarah later married Charles Joseph Walker, aka C.J. Walker, and adopted his name, incorporating it into the name of his new product, named Walker's Wonderful Hair Grower. In her sales approach, Sarah highlighted her personal experience, as this treatment had already helped her recover her hair and her self-esteem. Sarah then took a risk and expanded her business, opening her own hair salon, where she produced shampoos and creams to apply on her clients. Her husband, Charles, took care of product promotion, and her daughter also took on multiple roles in the salon. At that time, Sarah even published advertisements in the newspaper, showing her long strands of hair and stating that this was the result of only 2 years of treatment. In other words, only 2 years after knowing the results of Malone's products and taking action, Sarah already had a small business, which she used to sell by mail to neighboring places. With growth constantly in her mind, she reinvested her profits. In just 2 years, she went from being a washer to becoming a businesswoman and commander of a company that sold its products to several cities. Sarah's relationship with C.J. Walker was quite troubled and came to an end in 1907. Her ex-husband tried unsuccessfully to compete with her by copying the formula of her business, but failed at it. This shows that the idea of intellectual property, besides being unjustifiable and unethical, is not even necessary to protect the mentor of the original idea from possible competitors. The market itself realizes this with the right incentives. Whoever is the best seller and the most efficient producer will win the dispute. and that is beneficial to everyone. Besides that, it's worth noting that this wasn't the only time that entrepreneurs took advantage of the demands of blacks after the end of slavery to profit. Pepsi, for example, did something very similar in the south of the USA. Well, back to Sarah's life. In 1908, she opened a new hair salon in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, a place that had been the birthplace of great American capitalists, such as Carnegie, Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, Morgan, among others. For this reason, this place had a great infrastructure, with land and sea routes, but it was going through a serious economic crisis at the time. With this, Sarah got a large property for a very affordable price and installed a new base of operations for her company. Soon after, Alelia College was founded, a kind of vocational school to enable black women to work as hairdressers in Madame C.J. Walker's salon. The entrepreneur was also a strong advocate of the economic independence of black women and opened training programs for commissioned female salespeople from her network, who learned the so-called Walker sales system. The women who received these opportunities improved their lives, increased their family income, and some even paid for their college tuition and reached a better social class. In 1910, Sarah left her daughter in charge at the Pittsburgh base and established a new base of operations in Indianapolis, Indiana. She also accepted her daughter's suggestion of creating a salon in Harlem, New York, in 1913. At that time, the neighborhood was beginning to consolidate itself as one of the largest centers of African American culture, as it still is to this day. In Indianapolis, Sarah established the headquarters of the Madame C.J. Walker Manufacturing Company, her formal enterprise, consisting of a factory, a hairdressing salon, a beauty school, as well as a research and a product development laboratory. She created a complete line of beauty products for black women. Besides creams and shampoos, he popularized the use of hair care instruments such as the hot comb. All of her employees were black, and most of them were women. Even though she may never have read writers like Adam Smith, the most striking feature of her management as an entrepreneur was understanding her limitations and calling on more skilled people to help on the areas she couldn't cover, as well as implementing an efficient division of labor inspired by Ford, all this while being the great driving force of the company. She eventually faced several competitors, such as her former employer, Annie Malone. Sarah managed to even beat some cheaper imitations of her product. Between 1911 and 1917, her company reached its peak and employed thousands of American women. She also bought a mansion on the outskirts of New York and was a neighbor to the Rockefeller family. Capitalist Sarah gave scholarships to several university students, supported the construction of several institutes, churches, schools, and other works. She died in 1919 at the age of 51 due to kidney failure associated with hypertension. In the 1920s, her name became better known and her products reached countries such as Panama, Cuba, Costa Rica, Jamaica, and Haiti. The company remained operational until 1981, and in 2016, the company Senior Brands rescued some of Sarah's story by launching a products line called Madame C.J. Walker Beauty Culture in honor of the entrepreneur. In March 2020, Sarah's story was transformed into a mini-series of 4 episodes by Netflix, in which the protagonist was played by Octavia Spencer. However, it's necessary to emphasize that this series has a lot of creative freedom, that is, some facts that do not correspond entirely to reality. To name a couple of examples, Addie, a character alluding to Annie Malone, was played by a brown actress, although in reality she had the same skin tone as Sarah. In the series, they suggest that being less black brought her benefits or privileges. In addition to that, Sarah's daughter had broad shoulders, a strong carriage, but there is no evidence that she had lesbian relationships. Another different thing about Netflix is the collectivist approach adopted in the early episodes, which is anachronistic, but it is a resource widely used by this platform to attract people of progressive thinking. Although it wasn't very explicit in the series, it was Sarah's selfishness that led her to aspire to a better future for herself, and with that, she was able to help everyone she wanted to. It's also worth pointing out that she only managed to get so far because she was in a country with strong economic and business freedom. In a socialist quote-unquote paradise, she might never have gone that far, much less that fast. Anyway, Sarah was the daughter of slaves, poor, illiterate, and a former washerwoman. In a few years, she changed her reality and that of many of similar origin. Madam C.J. Walker is a black, powerful woman, but she is not among the heroines of the feminists because despite helping black women and black men, she does not serve the narrative of support to the state. Even in her personal life, in marriages, what allowed her to seek happiness was not a feminist conception or altruism, but rather her just selfishness in not accepting to live unhappily. I would ask, if I could, one of her many employees, if Sarah's entrepreneurship helped them. I believe most of them would say yes, and tell me how grateful they were for it. On the other hand, feminist movements take many of these stories in the narrative to attract people, especially women, who have good intentions but are carried away by the feeling of the speech. However, this is a dangerous trap to recruit these people for the evil purpose of supporting the state to supposedly guarantee women's rights. The same state that allowed the crime of slavery, the same state that through its laws prevented women in Brazil from traveling and having a bank account without their husband's approval, that prevented women from working as they wished, and finally, the very same state that prevented and still prevents women and men from seeking to improve their lives with heavy regulations and taxes. Therefore, if you really want to help women, blacks, poor people, anyone you think is just, or even any minority, if you want to refer to any individual, you have to attack the central problem. You have to fight the state and its ideas. Thank you for watching. This article was suggested and written by Drool, revised and narrated by Ankadime. If you liked this video, please hit the thumbs up icon below and share the video in your social networks. If you want to be notified of other videos, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon below. See you soon.